Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm going to show you a little slideshow here. This is with the Nikon ZF with the Viltrox 16 millimeter f1.8. The reason for this video is to show off, besides some pictures, the with the filter on during daytime, nighttime, and then with the filter off. So let's get to it. As you can see, my cat, Dusty, waiting for food, always hungry. I want to show you how there is a little bokeh with the, what is it? The clock on the range and then the clock on the microwave. So you can see it does create a little blurriness from any subject that you decide to keep in focus. I can bring it up close. It looks pretty sharp. Pictures look awesome. I did different settings with program, automatic, aperture priority, shutter priority. I did the whole thing. I can't do a car vlog because the lens is too long. All right. I would have to find another way of doing it. I was thinking to put it in the rear, but that kind of spooks a lot of people when they become behind you. So I've done it to the side, which was okay, but who wants to see me? You should show what you're viewing. Anyway, with the filter on, and if you notice a little spot right here, just a speck on the glass, got rid of it because I kept checking out my pictures. And you see, it's gone. But beautiful flowers with all the rain. And I water it too. It's 95 today, or um, it's like 35 Celsius. So anyway, look how sharp these pictures are, even with the filter on. It's just a UV filter, right? It's not an ND. And the debate is, do you use a lens hood or would you just rather use the filter to protect the lens? Me, and sorry about that, my camera goes in and out. I don't know why it's doing that. It was doing a little bit last night. So I'll take a look at it. Uh, anyway, looking at the pictures, they're sharp, even with the UV filter. Excellent. I don't really see any distortion. I do see some bokeh when you get close to your subject. I like the shade, between the daylight and the sunlight, so the exposure stays the same in a way. And a lot of people don't realize that the ZF with the newer processor, XSpeed 7, that's a pretty good job. With the Z52 coming out, has a better handle, um, card slots, but they're both full frame. But at least you don't have to go in the battery well to dig out the SD cards. But you can see a picture of my cat, and you can see these snails all over the place. Every time it rains, now these were in the yard, the grass, but they're usually on the house, getting away from the water. So, but my crepe myrtles, my plants um, down on the ditch, I'm a little bit worried about this one, so I'm watering it regularly. I was told maybe I'm watering it too much, but I don't know. I think it has something to do with the heat. But there's my Yorkie. And I did a little product review. And I don't know why it's doing that. So started doing that once I added the Canon R5 II. But anyway, as I'm going through these pictures, driving last night, I saw some beautiful crepe myrtles, which I had those type of colors on my trees, but they're either purple or white. So that's the end of the daytime. Now we're going to go to the nighttime. So here we are again. This time it's at nighttime with the filter on. And I drove to different places, like by the Live Oak um, town center, where they have restaurants and bars and stuff. They're building more buildings here, more stores, so that's kind of nice. But I took different pictures of textures, flowers at nighttime with the filter on. I do want to say one thing. I've experiment with the what the camera decided and what I did in with the aperture control, which is very important. The difference is, you see how clear and sharp this picture is, even in the dark? Same thing with that one. But it sometimes is a little bit too dark, and then you notice a lot of noise. So I played around with the auto, which the camera added a lot of noise to it. So it brought it up to like, I think 51,200, okay, which more than I needed. But just playing with the different types of settings in the cameras, I want to show you that the filter works great in the daytime. At nighttime, I wouldn't recommend it because you will still get some flaring, but not as much, but you'll get more noise, okay? So you see a little flaring there. And that's the moon, by the way. Took a couple of shots right there. That the center spot is the moon. All right. And then these are the lampposts by IKEA. And of course, I try to get some daisies, but I can see the noise. Try to get a close up, but you can see the light, the bokeh in the background. So it's a great lens. Okay. With the IKEA, it was a little bit out of focus right here, but you can see the noise, and then you can see the moon a lot clearer on the upper top of the screen. And then, of course, took some shots of where you go in a circle to go to different places. And then, of course, I started using the aperture ring, which I like. So I decided to use a filter, and I've done it on two different cameras now. Where would that be better than the exposure compensation if you put a negative to it, just to get rid of the flaring? And one thing I've noticed at nighttime with the UV filter, it wasn't as sharp. So if you look at these pictures at the Longhorn Steakhouse, at the brewery, the Olive Garden, they're not sharp. They're sharp if you get close to it, but when you're at a distance and there's someone that dropped either a coffee, I think it's a caffeine thing at the Olive Garden. These lights were lit by the brewery, but not by the Olive Garden and the steakhouse. And then I finally went through it so I can get a sharper image. But even then, you can see that the trees in the background just kind of blur away. So this is a pretty good lens. I like the wide view. 16 millimeter is not as much as a 14 millimeter, but at a 1.8, and you can see my shadow on the sidewalk and on the grass, it's excellent. But this is with the filter on. And this is the brew house. B&J's brew house is what I should call it. Yeah, the workers were staring at me. He says, "What's he doing?" He's taking pictures. Anyway, they have nice seating areas, some pretty flowers, but it was just missing it with that filter on. Okay. They're going through a little construction with the Texas Roadhouse. This one, the lights were too bright. I should have used the aperture on it, but I didn't. And that should be, yeah, Haverty's Furniture. And there is a hill, okay? So it's just from the driver's seat through the window, but you see 16 millimeters is pretty wide. I really don't see any distortion. You think that but it's the position of the camera. So if you're pointing up, you'll get stuff like that. If it was straight on, then we would get straight. So I didn't really see any distortion. Distortion control was on. And then I did, oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm sorry. I think that's the last one. Uh, Chinese, Vietnamese restaurant, A Dong, Orange Leaf, I think it's, I don't know. I don't know if that's a tea coffee house or it's kind of like an Orange Julius where they have mixed drinks. And of course, they have Charlie's. And that's the last picture. So now we're going to go to the daytime without any filter. Okay, here we are again for the last 26. So this is without any filter at all. Okay. And I just retook some pictures. Try to look at how sharp they are. Of course, the wind was blowing at that time. But it still looked good. I mean, it's sharp. I love the clouds, the trees. And I don't know what happened here. Just didn't take the whole thing. I don't know why. But then I did my cat. And then went inside. You know, I wanted to see, I get about 30 centimeters as close as I can get before it won't allow me to take a picture. I could probably get closer, but then be out of focus. So anyway, just, by the way, that's on top of my refrigerator. Look at all the dust on it. I just cleaned that about a month ago. So it gets pretty dusty there, even when you change out the filters for your air conditioner. But look at the sky, the clouds, how everything is in sharp. And this was done in auto. So it wasn't at 1.8. It was like either F4 through F8 or F9, whatever the camera decide. So I thought I'd try that, see what how it would perform. And you can see everything is sharp and clear. Life is a beach. I love my Yorkie. The sun behind the clouds. I wanted to see how if there was any flaring. My little crepe myrtle, which I hope survives. Um, my other crepe myrtle is doing all right, but I'm watering that too. Uh, my big one, of course, is starting to bloom. But you see, with the 16 millimeter, how wide it is. And you can see some of the flowers on top of the leaves. Um, it's excellent. And then you can see the white flowers at the end. And then here's another shot closer. And then that's a pretty good shot right there. And as you can see, even if I go into my tape cassettes, it's pretty sharp. You can read that stuff pretty good. So, why is it doing that? It's the preview program. I'm sorry about that. I might end it on that one though. That looks good. Yeah, with the sun star and then the flowers on the top with the clouds. I might do something like that. That looks pretty awesome right there. So, my verdict on this, it's a great lens. I like the lens. It's great. I can put it on here, 16 millimeters. I got the 24 millimeter on here. So, and I might just do that test right now. So if I go into my Z6 III, this is 24 millimeters. Now I'm going to take this lens off and put on the Viltrox 16 millimeter. And just imagine this as an APS-C 16 millimeter, cropped at 1.5. You would get like a 24. Now this is at full frame 16 millimeter, but just think of it. Yeah, enough said. Oh, one more thing. This is now at 26 millimeters, okay? So you can see how wide it is, but the nice thing with the 16 millimeters and why a lot of people use it for the studio, if they don't have enough room for their gear, they do this. So I'll go to options, live demo mode, so you can see everything I have on the desktop. And then I'll go over here to my digital zoom. See, that looks pretty good. And then if I get close, you can see how sharp it is. The color's accurate. I missed a hair for shaving, but you can see pretty good quality. Sharp, clear, and this is a 16 millimeter Viltrox f1.8. What do you think? You like this better, or do you like the Nikon Z 24 millimeter? And that's a 1.8. So, you know, uh, you can't lose with any lens that you buy today. You just find a need for it. And I'll go back to options, turn off live demo mode. Now you see me on full screen. Looks pretty sharp, doesn't it? Thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.